All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Fearcast. This is the podcast dedicated to OCD and anxiety spectrum disorders and getting your life back. I'm your host, Kevin Foss, and I'm a licensed therapist specializing in OCD and anxiety. And thank you all so much for joining me for today's episode. It's a really fun episode. And typically, it's a question and answer based podcast. If you have a question for the podcast that you would like me to talk about, go over to fearcastpodcast.com. And you can send me a message over there. You can also send an audio question over by clicking on the record your question here button. It should be pretty easy to find. You click on the button, you start talking to it. It will get sent to me. I will listen to it, consider it, and likely put it up on a future episode. You can go over to Instagram. I am Fearcast Podcast over at Instagram, and you can send an audio question over there or just see the various things that we're putting out over there. So for today's episode, it's not a question episode. It's just a conversation that I had with Nathan Peterson. So Nathan Peterson, for those of you who don't know, is a therapist out of Texas who also has an incredibly popular, fantastic YouTube channel where he talks about all sorts of subtypes of OCD and anxiety and now tic disorders and Tourette's. So I had him on to talk about his upcoming book, and that book has a great name. It says, "Your Anxiety Will Hate This Book." So I had a chance to talk to him about the book, what it's like, what's different about it, what's unique about it, and why it can be helpful for those who are looking for a little bit of help in their recovery process. Along the way, we also talked about a new program he's coming out with specific to Tourette's and tic disorder. So we talk a little bit about what his program is like, who it's kind of designed for, what it would look like to do, and throughout the conversation, he talks primarily about this, but we talk a little bit about just the kind of mindset behind what OCD and anxiety treatment is like, what recovery looks like, what are some tips and tricks that can be helpful, and also how his various programs, books will be able to help with that if you're looking for some resources to help with your recovery process. So without further ado, here is my conversation with Nathan Peterson. All right, everybody, welcome Nathan Peterson to the Fearcast. This is your second time on the podcast.
Yep.
This is amazing.
What did we talk about last time? I know one time we talked about trigger warnings.
I think that was it. I think that was the time. Yeah, the trigger warning podcast. That was that was a long time ago. Yeah. You and I were not as gray then.
That's true.
And alas,
I'm getting grayer. My kids like to let me know that.
My kids let me know that constantly, and I don't love it as much as I don't hate it. As my wife says, men don't get old; they get distinguished with our grays. So, and I don't know if that's encouraging or not. I don't know how to take that, but I'll take it. It's better than
it works.
It's better than it could. Anyways, we got off a weird note. Anyways, yes, thank you so much for joining us again to talk about my main goal today. All right, so for all y'all listeners out there, main goal today, I reached out to Nathan because he let me know that he's releasing a book coming up soon. So the book is going to be coming out when again?
July next year.
July. All right, so it's coming out. So we've got a little bit of runway before it's coming out, but I get excited when folks put out books because, having something new, there's something unique about, having a book or podcast or a exceedingly popular YouTube channel that's great, because I think I've said to folks that now is the best time on earth, or best time in history, to have OCD, because there's so much information out there, so much accessible information out there that to help folks. So I'd love to hearing that different voice, or hearing those different voices can be really helpful. So I want to have Nathan to talk about the book and what's unique and special and different about this one.
Yeah, just kind of jumping right into it.
Wait, how's the we can ease into it. How's the weather?
Yeah, well, we've got some storms here and thunder. You might hear some thunder in the background. Who knows?
It's a very Imagine Dragons of you. Good job. All right.
Yep.
So, did that ease us into it enough?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Goodness. All right. I don't want to be a rude host. All right, here we go. So, all right, so you announced this book coming out, and I'm always curious about what the book process was like for you, and what sort of information did you want to put in this book that that maybe wasn't out there, that wasn't out there before, or that you wanted to have that was different.
Yeah. One, something I was thinking about was I actually, just being fully transparent, I'm not a reader. I, I don't read books. Um, it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like saying that is like, oh, well, it takes its credibility away. But, that's why I have a YouTube channel. That's why I'm like, this is how I learn. This is what I do.
That's why I have a
Uh,
podcast.
yeah, I have read books. I've read many books. Um, and one thing that I've learned is, when I want to learn about something, so OCD, for example,
Yeah.
I'll read a book and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
this is great. This is great. But I keep asking myself, so what do you do about it? That's really cool, but like, what now?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
now yeah, cool. I have OCD, this and this and this. So what?
Yeah.
And I kept asking myself that question, like, I want to learn what to do about it. I don't want to just learn about it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some people, that's just, they need to learn about it in some way or another.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought to myself, if I ever wrote a book, I want to make sure people are not asking that question of, okay, this is cool, but what do I do about it?
Yeah.
And so my whole purpose was like, yeah, I do have to explain it. And I mentioned in the book, I'm like, this is painful for me to have to go through this, but I have to do it. And then we're going to get to the treatment. But like, bear with me till we get there.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't just like, you could try this, but it's very, you know, different in the sense of throughout the whole book, there are different QR codes that people will be scanning, and that will take them to a website where they can download a worksheet
Uh-huh.
that follows along exactly where we are in the book. So it's like, you're supposed to be doing this for the next, week. Um, and I try to add humor
Yeah.
to it throughout the whole thing. I I don't need to sound smart. That's, I just want
Uh-huh.
people to know what to do.
Yeah.
And so the whole idea is like, as easy as possible. This is what you do. Use the worksheet. Obviously, seeing a therapist is the best,
Mm-hmm.
mode for someone to take, but it's not accessible for everybody.
No.
And
No.
so for anybody that is going through therapy on, who has a therapist, anyone who doesn't have a therapist, anyone who just wants extra support,
Mm-hmm.
even therapists who want to learn about the treatment, like I've tried to make it applicable to everybody.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I you there's so much in that I love about it. I mean, yeah, when the first chapter of every OCD book is the same. I think it's the same. It's here's what it is. Here's why we're talking about it. So yes, so you're going to have to fit that one in there. But I love the idea that having these books be full of things that you can do about it. There's a lot of theory, a lot of ideas, a lot of kind of abstract concepts of things that could happen. So yeah, having a book of here's what you can do, and not in confusing therapeutic or researchy type of language, but something that's accessible and readable. I think that's what I hopefully that's what this podcast has done. I know that your videos are great in that of just being plain and clear and just understandable about here's what X concept is, here's what you can do about it. Just almost like you'd be talking to someone across the across the table about it.
Yeah, it and it's definitely one of those things that, um, since I want people to make sure that they're not getting bored
Uh-huh.
while they're reading it,
Uh-huh.
you know, I use a protagonist, where Sarah is the name.
Okay.
We're taking her through therapy from like session 1 all the way to aftercare.
Okay.
So it shows the dialogue, and it shows where people get stuck, and it shows, um, yeah, just trying to anticipate as somebody reads this, like, don't get stuck in the rigidity of it. Just because I said it doesn't mean that's how it's got to be.
Mm-hmm.
Here's an alternative. Here's an alternative. And so it does stay flexible to, yeah, for people to be able to read it and say, wow, he read my mind. I think I get that in my videos a
Yeah.
lot. Like, how did you know I was thinking that? And it kind of just shows that OCD plays the same tricks. And I hope to catch all of them in there so that you feel heard
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, yes, this is what I was thinking as I read this. And here's what I can do.
Yeah, yeah. As creative as OCD and that anxious voice can be, it also is pretty monotonous. I think once it finds that thing for you, it goes after that thing over and over and over again, and it plays the hits, as I call it. Like it
Mm.
goes with these kind of somewhat predictable things that we can anticipate, but these kind of tacts that it has. But yeah, knowing how it's going to try to creep in and try to take over, and seeing it in someone else's example can be really powerful. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's hopefully a fun experience
Hmm.
for people to read, and then for them to know, like, I'm not just reading through this, like I have something to do.
Yeah.
um, and I'd call them out if like, why are you still reading? Like,
Go
you're
shoot.
supposed to be tracking this thing. Like, if you're still reading, you didn't do what you're supposed to be doing.
Right, right. It's funny. You s- you mentioned something that I wrote for myself to write about a thing that I'm doing, but kind of that idea of like getting stuck in something, right? The thing I wrote about was about like perfectionism in treatment, and clients who kind of want to um, they want to be the perfect student. They want to do everything exactly as you say. If I do exactly what Nathan says, I'll be better. I'll get fixed. OCD will be destroyed. And that is one of those, hiccups and sticking points, I think, that often happens in treatment for some folks. You have the opposite end of folks where you say, hey, we're going to do this exercise, and they go, great, and they come back in next week and go, how was the exercise? And you go, what exercise? Or they say, what exercise?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But could you share, like, could you give me some examples of places where people get stuck in treatment that you have found, either in well, in some of your clients that you've worked with, or that you've heard about, that you've incorporated in the book, or some things that people can look out for?
Yeah. I I have one big section where I talk about how your theme doesn't matter as much as you think it does.
Uh-huh.
So, well, this book doesn't say harm OCD on the
Mm-hmm.
cover, so it must not apply to me,
Right.
or scrupulosity. So, yeah, this doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a big section about why your theme is just OCD,
Yeah.
but I go through every single theme I can think about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, I know I just said your theme doesn't matter, but here are all the themes because
Mm-hmm.
you might relate to it. And at the end of it, you're probably going to say, the way he explained my theme is not exactly how I experience it, so I must be different.
Mm-hmm.
And so trying to find all the little nuances there of like, this is what you might be thinking. Um, and even just going through treatment in itself of like, okay, I know I said you can use a maybe, maybe not, but you don't have to. You can choose to do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could choose to agree with it, or you could choose to like, you whatever you need to do is what you're doing. There's no perfection that needs to be with this treatment.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're doing something that is sending a signal back to your brain that says, I really just kind of don't care about this thing. Um, Maybe none of my examples are things you're going to be doing. And
Mm-hmm.
so it gives, it kind of keeps people with that uncertainty as well of like, wait, this isn't so rigid. I
Yeah.
get to choose how therapy is going to be sometimes.
Yeah, I think we get. I think the therapy land and the various people, myself included, we can get caught in a problem solution mindset of, I have this thought, or I have this subtype, So therefore, here are all the tools, all the interventions that I should do in this order. And in order to do that, and once I do that, then I will have beaten it, right?
Hmm.
And it kind of sounds like what you're sharing. And I think this is an important mindset to have of kind of fighting against that perfectionism mindset, that as you're going through treatment, it's not a one-to-one relationship, or, you have this illness, you take this medication, this antibiotic for it, and that'll knock it out. We're having to shift our perspective to what it means to have our thoughts and what it means to have feelings, in particular that anxious feelings. So, I guess what are your thoughts on that? You could entirely disagree.
No, I
Like, no,
I
do the
like
things
that.
that I said.
Yes. That is, I think, the crux of sometimes teaching treatment is, if I went to a doctor and they said, this is what I see, this is what I think, this is what you should do, doesn't mean that they're 100% right. I mean, they could be,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, um, I could get caught up in thinking, okay, well, he said I need to drink 6 cups of water every day.
Oh,
I'm drinking 5,
oh.
so I'm probably not going to, get the results that, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I can get caught up in overthinking about being perfect about it. Whereas, yeah, I think when we leave that flexibility there and say, and just be honest with ourselves, like, this isn't I get to take antibiotics and then all symptoms are gone. Here's what it would look like. Here's what recovery looks like. But also don't look for it. Just live your life.
Mm.
Because if you're looking for it, you're going to get caught into, is it working? Is it working? Am I getting
Yeah.
better? Maybe I'm doing something wrong. So trying to make sure people have the right mindset when they're even going into therapy.
Yeah. Could you expand on that a little bit? I'm curious about what your view of recovery is.
Yeah, I think every person is so different. That's like that cliche
I know,
say.
I know it's such a like the second I asked that, I was like, that's such a broad question. I need to s- refine it, but I'll leave it broad, and to what you where how you interpret that.
I see recovery as somebody who is living their life exactly how they want to live their life,
Mm.
even if they're still having intrusive thoughts, or sometimes they're doing compulsions every
Mm-hmm.
once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean they're not in recovery.
Mm-hmm.
I can think of plenty of examples of people that I see in my office who are doing literally everything they want to do. There's nothing holding them back,
Yeah.
but they still get stuck sometimes in doing a compulsion
Mm-hmm.
or a rumination, or um, that we can easily say, oh, well, they must not be in recovery because they still have symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And so recovery to me is like, I don't know, just like I might have a bad back the rest of my life. Like sometimes it's going to flare up, sometimes not, and it's unfair at times, or it feels like, well, why now?
Yeah.
Uh, but I have the tools ready to go to maintain the progress. If I keep exercising, I'm going to strengthen my back. If I
Mm-hmm.
stop exercising, it's probably going to hurt a little bit more.
I love that perspective. I've certainly talked about it. If any listeners of this silly podcast have paid attention, I've talked about my ridiculous back, because I'm old. I'm old now, so it's that back is just terrible. But yeah, it's gonna flare up from time to time, and it sucks. And I wish it wasn't. I wish it wasn't the way that way it is. But I don't spend that much time thinking about the wishing it would go away, because it is. It is there. So I know the things that are going to help. I know the things that are going to really screw me up. So I'm going to try to do the things that are good for me, and I'm going to try to live my life as best I can with it. I mean, you also hear folks, and I'm not going to name the names of the people, but they'll say things like, OCD is a cancer. We need to, you don't, when you go in for surgery to get cancer out, you don't say, let's get a little bit of the cancer out. They say, let's get all of it out. I guess how would you how would you tell that person they're wrong? Let me rephrase that. How would you how do you kind of address the person who has that mindset in treatment as well, who is going to your YouTube channel, my podcast, and going like, I still have intrusive thoughts. That person doesn't, or I hear stories about people online and they went through treatment and they've eradicated everything, they'll say.
Mhm.
Why don't they have their life?
Oh man, I would say obviously don't know every single person, but I'd say those who are like, I used to have it and I don't have it anymore. Like, okay, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Either you're using that as a sales tactic for your, your coaching or your whatever.
Uh-huh.
Um, you're just not being honest about it, or you've gotten so used to it that it doesn't. You actually aren't even noticing it.
Yeah.
Like it's just there. You've accepted it and it's there, and so it's not a problem. Um, I actually have not heard that concept of like get all the cancer out. I could see how some people might think that,
Uh-huh.
um, and I feel like that can be really sticky because then people get into that mindset of like it's got to be fully gone before I can live my life.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh
but
man.
I guess I
Yeah.
would even argue those, if we use the cancer analogy, those who have cancer often still go do things they want to go do
Mm-hmm.
and live life, even if it's not 100% gone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, I will share the name after. I'll send you a text about it. But I love that perspective of that shift. For the record, and I think hopefully listeners know that you and I are on the same page with this. It's about living life and having a different perspective with it. We can't get rid of anxiety. We can't get rid of thoughts, and I don't want to get rid of anxiety as a feeling. I don't want to get rid of thoughts as an experience because we like them. We want them, right? When I go to a theme park and I get on a roller coaster, I want to have a feeling of anxiety because that's what makes it exciting. I want to have that. I want to have an intrusive thought about being hurt because sometimes that helps me do something helpful for my
Mhm.
safety, for myself, or somebody else. The problem is when that becomes everything and that starts to limit your life rather than it being just another feeling that we have throughout life.
Right.
So,
I I like that. I mean, we're supposed to feel anxious. It's
mhm,
designed within our body to tell us that we are possibly in danger,
mhm,
and so our goal is to retrain it to say, hey, I'm not on a roller coaster right
mhm,
now. Like I actually don't see physical danger, so I'm not reacting the way you want me to, and so let's move on.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
So where right now I might have hours a day where I'm doing a compulsion or
mhm,
ruminating, I've exchanged that later in life into recovery to like every once in a while I'm having a thought, and it's just like, oh yeah, I remember that, like,
yeah, yeah,
and that's what it is. Like it's not as big of a deal as it is right now when someone's just starting treatment.
mhm, yeah, yeah. And yeah, when folks want to start treatment or they're looking for a book or like they're saying I'm sick of this and I want this to be gone, and it's powerful to say we're going to get rid of it. It's sure
Mhm.
encouraging. But what I love it when in the way that you were talking about your book and it's certainly your approach to OCD and anxiety treatment, it's we're trying to learn these skills so that when those things come up, we can handle it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. What are some? I mean, not to give away the store. One of the struggles is I know, and this is our hands are tied on this. I wish I had more like precise things to talk about, but it was it's a secret. I can't see the book until it comes out, like you guys. So we're just learning a little bit and trying to sneak a little bit from Nathan before he releases the book. So, but I'm also wondering, like, what are some of the what's a tool that you find to be really helpful, just kind of broadly, for someone who's struggling with OCD? What's maybe a favorite intervention or tool or approach or mindset that you really try to hammer home or reinforce in your work with folks?
Yeah. There's a few, obviously, exposure and response prevention is like the treatment that I harp in there.
Uh-huh.
And I even go through alternative
Oh, I was just going to ask that.
treatments,
Yeah.
or things you can supplement with it, like ACT therapy or
Okay.
DBT, and kind
Mm-hmm.
of go through what that would look like. But I make it very clear that we're not replacing exposures for this. We might be adding it to what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but there's a few mindsets that I really love, and I have people think about throughout the book. And one of them is just that concept of, what would you be doing if you didn't have OCD?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm.
not everybody can know that. Some people say I've had it since I was 5. I don't know what life looked like before.
This is all I know.
This is all I know, which is definitely fair. Uh, some people can say very clearly, if I didn't have OCD, I'd be washing my hands one time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they just know that.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't have OCD, I wouldn't be asking for reassurance, or I wouldn't be Googling right now, or I wouldn't be checking my rearview mirror over and over and over again. And if somebody can do that and say, if I didn't have this, this is what I would be doing,
Mm-hmm.
uh, then that helps us realize, helps us start creating treatment, because
Mm-hmm.
it says, wait, that means I do need to wash my hand just one time. Or
Mm.
here's what I'm going to be doing, working on my compulsions and reducing those. Uh, I have a worksheet in there that actually have people write down all of their compulsions that
Mm-hmm.
they have, and then almost like a plan. So more than exposures, but like, here's my plan when I feel the urge to do this compulsion.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to do. It kind of goes through this response plan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Another concept that I really like is, I'm trying to think of what I called it. I think it's just maybe your future self,
Uh-huh.
of having people plan, what does life look like in a year, 5 years, 10 years, and the behaviors that you're doing right now, does that belong into that lifestyle?
Mm.
If you close your eyes and you imagine, okay, I am married, I have 2 kids, whatever you came up with,
Mm-hmm.
does it work what you're doing right now into that life?
Yeah.
To have people really kind of like visualize that. And if they can identify like that doesn't fit into that lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
that you can't just stop it in 5 years when that life happens. You
Mm-hmm.
do something now to make that happen. So it's good that we can think about it, because you have the time to
Mm-hmm.
change something. Uh,
Yeah.
so I really like that concept, to have people have a future, because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people feel hopeless and being stuck right now. And it's like, no, you have a future. And for us to get there, let's do something about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a very I could see. Oh, I really like that concept of saying, like, who's the person I'm trying to be. It's, kind of my ideal self, right? And then kind of bringing it back to today. What are those then individual decisions that I have to make today that's going to set me up for that, right?
Mm.
And that slow and steady wins the race mindset. We'll get there. We're all time traveling in one direction. We're going to get there slowly but surely. But how do I set myself up for that? How do you what do you say to folks who then get caught up in the past, where this is who they've been, or because of their decisions from the past, or because of what they did that one time, they don't deserve to get better. They don't deserve to
Yeah.
move past it.
I Man, our past is the worst. Like,
Yeah.
why? We make mistakes. We're supposed
Mhm.
to make mistakes. I think
Mhm.
that's sometimes the point of life, and it doesn't matter if it's the huge or if it's small. I want people to learn from their experiences
Mhm.
and actually go through it. Like, what did I learn from this experience?
Yeah.
And if I've learned something that I can take onto, I don't want to treat my kids this way, or I don't want, whatever you come up with,
Yeah.
but your brain won't let it go, then that's where I use exposures to say, let's change our reaction to a story from your
Mhm.
past.
Mm.
So we might write out the story exactly how you have it, and we're going to read that over and over and over and over and over and over, and you're going to change the way that you're talking about it.
Yeah.
So you might say, yep, that did happen. Yep.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And it's more just like an acceptance
Yeah.
that I'm having with this,
Yeah.
because there's nothing from your past that defines like what you deserve now.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I think it's all about what you're doing now in your
Mm-hmm.
life. And that's what we try to focus on the most is what's going on now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's do something. Um, yeah, I know it's easier said than done to just like let your
It's
past be in the past, but
yeah. But what I love in your explanation, what really stuck out to me in that was this shift from like when we're reading a script, you said we're going to change our response to it, right? There wasn't a we're we're going to read it to the point where we don't feel anxious. It wasn't a we're going to read it to we're going to read it and have this expected response to it or this is the right response. This is kind of open-ended. We're going to change our response to it. And I think that can also fit in with the type of person that we're trying to be because we can say like what is the response that you're currently doing to that thought? And then what's a different way to respond to it? And I think that having that open-ended can actually be a little freeing in the way that we approach an exposure script, which is, for those of you who are new to this process, it's an extremely common exposure concept that I think everybody, for the most part, talks about.
yeah, I love that concept because it shows us that the problem is not the thing we did in the past. The problem is what our brain's saying about it.
Yeah.
And so if we can change the way that how the brain is perceiving it and automatically saying bad, 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 then we can hopefully have a better chance of doing something greater in the present moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. We kind of say we take that thing, we acknowledge that there are things in the past that maybe we would have done differently, but we can't change that thing that we did. So what's a different response now that is actually going to fit into that future-based focus, right? That person that I'm trying to be, rather than, all right, I'm going to separate from this moment and I'm going to time travel mentally back there and I'm going to try to relive that, fight that, play with that, change that, see how I would feel differently if I did this instead of that. But you're not living your moment now, you're trying to relive a moment then.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't get you anywhere either.
Yeah, it's can I can I be in that moment in the past and just observe and do nothing
Mm-hmm.
and just observe sometimes. Just it is what it is. I'm not trying to change it, not trying to make sense of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think a lot of people have different visualizations that they have that they could go through. Um,
Mm-hmm.
one of them that I've heard
Yeah.
is kind of going taking someone through almost just like close your eyes, lay on the couch, and imagine yourself walking into a building,
Mm-hmm.
and you walk into that building and you see an elevator. And you walk into the elevator and you see a whole wall full of buttons.
Mm-hmm.
Each button is something from your past, and you push one of those buttons. You wait for the elevator to go up or down or wherever it's going to go, and the door opens and you're just observing. You watch the situation, you see it. You're not saying it's good, you're not saying it's bad, you're not saying I wish I did this, I wish I didn't do this. It's just observing, and you're allowing the elevator doors to just close,
Mm-hmm.
and then you come back to the present moment. So
Mm-hmm.
it's teaching yourself that, I know it's just a visualization, but it's just teaching the brain that like let's just have the past be the past.
Mm-hmm.
Don't change it. Just let
Mm-hmm.
it be. And I think that's part of that ACT therapy of just like, let's just accept what happened and what can I do today that's moving towards my values and my goals.
Yeah. And as the elevator doors open, knowing that sometimes we're going to have feelings about that. We're going to have feelings of sadness or anger or regret or anxiety or positive feelings. I can't think of can't think of one right now. But yeah, we're going to have feelings, and that those are all okay too. We can let those feelings come in and go out as well. We do that. We do that with positive feelings all the time, or desired memories, right?
Yeah.
We go back. Oh, remember that time in this place? That was so great. Those are fine. We let ourselves have those, but the other ones we're trying to change them, fix them, turn them into something else.
Mm-hmm.
So, so gonna do a quick shift.
Yeah.
All right, because you're a busy man. So not only are you coming out with this book soon, but you just released A you just released a new program for Tourette's and tics. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, I went to an OCD conference. It was actually the first one I've ever been to. Ooh, I don't know, 11 years ago,
Hmm.
maybe. And as I was there was somebody there. They had 5 DVDs, and
Hmm.
they said, "This is the treatment for tics and Tourette's." And it's like, if you promise to do it, I will give this to you. And it was probably the Tourette's Association that was there.
Hmm.
I didn't even, I was just kind of walking around.
Yeah.
And I was like, I will do it. So I took it home. I watched it all. I learned the treatment. I passed the test they had and all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then I just kept working with it. And I realized I love this.
Mm.
Um, and that was years ago. And I realized, okay, no one else is doing this. Why is no one doing this?
Hmm.
Uh, Even in my area right now, so I'm in Texas, there's like me and then maybe 2 other people.
Yeah.
And me am the only one, well, that's not proper grammar, but I am the only one that is seeing children with it.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, my waiting list is so long. Everyone else I know who's working with tics and Tourette's is just so long that it's like, I have already created courses on OCD, BFRBs, hair pulling, skin picking, all that. I was like, I need to do this. So
Yeah.
when somebody calls, like, my waiting list is 4 months, but here's this course. I'm going to teach you exactly what I would teach you if you came in.
Yeah.
That was my hope.
Yeah.
Uh, and so that's what I did. Just session 1 to all the way to the end. This is what it looks like. Here's some worksheets, videos to make it fun.
Yeah.
Uh, you can watch it as a kid. You can watch it as an adult. I try to apply it to everybody.
Hmm.
Uh, it's I wanted to do it probably 4 or 5 years ago. I had it planned, and I just never did it.
Hmm.
And so I had some time, and like, I'm just gonna knock this out and make it happen.
That's
So I
am-
just released it last week or the week before.
that's amazing. Could you give people a little like what is the summary of what is Tourette's disorder? What is Tourette's, and what does treatment look like, and how is it similar or different to the treatment that we would do for OCD and anxiety disorders?
Yeah. The It's a neurological disorder.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go see a neurologist first before they go see a therapist. The thing that's different is that uh, we can't control it as much as we think we can, since it is neurological.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the one shift that I've learned is that if someone wants to do treatment, they do it. If they don't, that's cool too.
Yeah.
Like, there's no shame to it. If a kid is like, I don't care whatsoever that I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing tics,
Mm-hmm.
um, just keep doing it then.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of the therapy process is actually just, can you just accept who you are
Yeah.
with it?
Mm-hmm.
No shame, no guilt. A lot of times it's parents that are bringing their kids in. I want them to stop, but they come in, they're like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of strength actually for the kid, just be like, you just be you. And
Mm-hmm.
the treatment's not going to help you like stop. Like,
Yeah.
it might help you reduce symptoms.
Uh-huh.
Some people I've seen it stop, but it's more of a process of almost like exposure.
Yeah.
And I sit with this urge, a premonitory urge, where this tick is going to come out,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to create a competing response, using a
Mm-hmm.
lot of terms, something that competes with my ability to do the tick. And it's
Yeah.
often the opposite motion. So if a sound comes out of my mouth, the opposite motion is for me to breathe in the opposite of where that air is coming out. And I'm going to breathe in, and I'm going to focus on my breath. And we do it for at least a minute,
Mm-hmm.
um, or until that urge, at least a minute, no matter what. And then when that urge goes down by half, then we stop,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Competing responses are anything. Like, I could hold my shoulder, I could put my shoulder down, I could put my hands in my pockets. Like, it's finding something that makes the tick more inconvenient
Mm-hmm.
and letting that feeling go up and then go down without doing the tick, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it a um, I'm I've limited experience to Tourette's treatment, so I'm really interested in this as well. When you start, when you do, when just tell me about like that feeling, like for those who are, for those of you, for those folks who are kind of interested in this or kind of have heard about this, like what is that you described, like that feeling that shows up, right? That feeling that shows up initially, like, oh, I feel like I'm going to do this. It feels like it's akin to having an intrusive thought in a sense. Like it's this thing that's out of my control, but it's there. Now I feel like I have to address this. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, the first session I have
Yeah.
with individuals, it's usually the parent and the child.
Uh-huh.
We do a staring contest,
Ooh.
and usually the kid wins, but we do a staring contest, and while we're doing it, I
Yeah.
kind of go through the process with even the parent too. Like, what does it feel like? Do you want to blink? What if you don't blink? What is it feeling like now? Like, are your eyes watering? Do you feel any pressure? Do you feel an urge to do something to fix it?
Mm-hmm.
And eventually they blink, and what happens is when you're doing a staring contest, you don't just blink once, you blink a few times
Yeah.
because your body's almost making up for the times that you didn't blink.
Uh-huh.
And that's how I kind of describe a tic, is that if you did not blink, you're going to get that urge, and it's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And your brain is screaming, the only way for you to find relief is to do it.
Mm.
And so the tics come out.
Yeah.
And so we have to teach the brain that I know you're telling me this is the only way for me to feel better, but let me sit with this and show you that I can reduce that urge to blink or whatever it is, and kind of teach you that, like, I don't need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to do because neurologically the brain's just going to do it. Like, unlike an intrusive, I guess it's kind of like an intrusive thought. Like, we can't control it if it's going to come in.
Mm-hmm.
We just get to control what we're going to do when it gets there.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's like the one thing that you and I can control is our response to that. So are we just gonna give into it, let it happen, or are we gonna have our own agency over what we want to do with it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. What are some what are some pitfalls that people fall into as they start going through that process as well? I know there's probably some sticking points that people get into with Tourette's treatment.
I think some sticky points is definitely working with them first to see, is this something that's worth it for you
Oh
to even
yeah.
do? Do you even care, essentially? And if you don't care, can we be honest with your parents about how you don't care? And so they don't keep bringing you, because I love seeing you, but I want you just to be a kid, be you.
Yeah.
And if you do care, let's do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of go through that process, like, let's think about, if you kept doing this, what are some pros? What are some cons? Uh, are you going to be happy either way? I think some downfalls are people think it is kind of like the antibiotic example we used earlier. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, I do this treatment, I'm never going to have any tics again.
Yeah.
And that's not accurate. It's maybe I'll have no tics for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll have a lot for some reason.
Yeah.
And it's being pretty transparent with that, of like, some people treatment might be, I'm really going to just do this when I'm at school,
Uh-huh.
but I don't care if I'm at home.
Yeah.
Who cares? I'm not doing treatment at home, but I just want to do it at school. And it's like, that's actually okay too,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I feel like, different than most therapies. It's like, let's work on this everywhere. And this is like, actually, you get to pick and choose what's worth it to you.
Yeah, I like that. It puts so much agency in the position of the person who's experiencing it, without the expectation that it has to be gone everywhere. And I mean, going back to the antibiotic example, the antibiotic example doesn't even work with the antibiotic example. It's like saying, I'm going to take a medication, it's going to knock this out. You can still get it, right? You're still, like, even when you go see the doctor, you're still going to get sick at some point in your life. Well, but we know how to respond to it. We're never going to eliminate whatever that thing is.
Mm.
we're going to get it from time to time. And the nice thing is that antibiotics work for medication. So we have our back pocket responses to things, and sometimes we want to address it and sometimes we don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great because you're right. Right. In the moment, it might feel like it solved everything,
Hmm.
but there's no guarantee you're not going to get that same thing again.
I know my back's going out again. I know it. I know it. I feel it coming. So, do you, how much time do you have, or do you need to get out of here?
um, I, I've got nowhere to be.
Fair enough. Well, yeah. So briefly, I wanted to also go over this because I think there is a misconception when it comes to Tourette's. I think when some people think about Tourette's, they think about uncontrollably swearing,
Hmm.
right? What what is that, and how is it different? I actually know the answer to this question, but I want to hear from
Oh
you.
man, I hope I have the right answer for you.
Of course, you have the right answer. I'm just sitting here going, I said that. I'm probably wrong, but go ahead.
It it is actually more rare than we would think,
Hmm.
but it's not fun to watch, which is why they put it on TV. Like
It's
i-
it's
i-
it's it's
the other
it's
ticks are not
it's
as fun.
exciting and sexy.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So I think a lot of people think, oh no, my son has or my kid has Tourette's. They're going to be
Hmm.
swearing up a storm, and some kids do. Like, I've seen them, but it is definitely more rare than we think.
Hmm.
Um, Tourette's really just means I am doing a vocal tick
Hmm.
and I have a motor tick, and I've been doing it for a certain amount of time before it
Hmm.
even becomes Tourette's.
Hmm.
And and a vocal tick could be like a cough, or it could just be a grunting sound, or
Hmm.
it doesn't have to be swearing. It could be any word,
Yeah.
like um, yeah, anything that's coming out of your mouth essentially could be just Tourette's.
Hmm. Yeah. And yeah, if it's one or the other, if it's a physical tick or a vocal tick, it's tick disorder. But if it's both, that's more Tourette's. Is that correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yes, it worked. Thank you.
You got
Thank you, grad school. Oh, I did it.
it.
But yeah, and then physical tics can certainly be, things like a muscle twitch, moving your arm in a certain way, moving your head in a certain. It can be anything. But yeah, physical. But yeah, going back to that misnomer. Yeah, they put that on. It's kind of like how they put washing or hand washing or hoarding on TV
Mm,
and go like, see, look at this OCD. Oh my gosh, it's so terrible.
yeah.
Whereas, if you've been, in the world long enough, it's so much. It can be anything, and it's so much under the surface and less noticeable than anything else. But boy, hand washing is easy to put on TV,
Mhm.
and someone who is uncontrollably swearing is really easy and exciting. It's the wrong word for it, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's captivating. How's that?
Right. Which I think is so important to go through the education
Yeah.
for parents, especially. Is like your kid is not broken.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if they are swearing, they're still not broken. Like
Mm-hmm.
their their job's to be a kid. So how can we help them be a kid?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Help me a kid in the way that they're hoping to, and if it's causing a problem in their life and they want to fix it, they can do that if they want to.
Hmm.
Yeah. How long is the program? In other words, like from top to bottom, how long would it take someone to get through it?
Well, the typical protocol, if someone were to come in, is around 12 weeks
Okay.
of I I break up each video. How many videos do I have in there? I have a lot, but I mean, someone could watch it all in one day if they really wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But I do break it out, kind of like my book of like, okay, we just talked about this. Get the worksheet. You're going to fill out all these ticks, or we're going to draw where your ticks feel, where you feel it in your body. It's another activity. Um, Here's how we're going to create competing responses. Like, go practice it. So they're supposed to go practice these things
Mm-hmm.
before they're watching the next videos. Uh, Somebody could, I mean, really, they could knock it all out in a week and just know it all, and then just keep going with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think that the idea is like, yeah, you follow the prompts of do this for the next week and come back, kind of thing. And we'll see what's working and what's not working. We
Yeah.
can adjust it.
Yeah. But knowing it and doing it, two very different things.
Yes.
I think we fall into that trap of if we just learn it, if I read enough of those books, I'll know about it, but we don't
Yep,
do it.
for sure.
So,
Sorry, I got dogs barking in the background.
I can't even hear them.
Can't even hear it.
Thanks, technology. All
Yeah.
right. Well, I should probably release you back to the wild here, but is there anything? Well, first off, where can people find all this information?
Well, my website. My
Which
website
is
is ocd-anxiety.com. And that's where I have all my courses. I'm about to put a book link on there, creating like a landing page for it. But yeah, I mean, you can pre-order the book now.
mm-hmm.
Amazon, Target, Walmart, like it's everywhere. And I think we'll see. I think I'll be doing the audiobook for it. We're working on having me do it, so we'll see.
That's super exciting. Separately, I really want to know how that process is. So let
I
me know.
don't even know. Yeah, who knows?
As someone who listens to a lot of audiobooks, I'm curious what that process is like. I've always wondered it. But anyways, I'll be bending your ear about that. So so everybody out there, go check it out. If this is something that sounds like it'd be accessible to you. You also have a couple of other courses. You have an OCD course as well that I've been able to see that one, and it is fantastic. So if it's anything like that program, it's going to be great. So therapy's hard to get into, finding a good therapist, going through the process. But yeah, having a program like yours is a great alternative to, if you can't get into, or if it's inaccessible. Traditional therapy is inaccessible.
Yeah, that's the idea.
That's the idea.
Anybody, anywhere can take this thing, learn about it, possibly do something if they want to, and make it work.
Love it. And so I appreciate you being on and just kind of sharing your thoughts about OCD treatment, your philosophy behind it. I think that having another way to look at it can be really freeing, rather than it just being this one way of doing it. There's no one way of living life. There's no one way of doing treatment. So find something that's going to work for you, because something can work. You're not screwed if the one treatment out there doesn't work. There's a way out.
Yeah. And your job is to go live your life, whatever that looks like. And that's the treatment. Just go live it.
Love it. Love it. All right. Well, Nathan Peterson, thank you so much for your time and joining us, and hopefully we'll have you on again.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Fearcast. If you would like your question answered on a future episode, please click on the Submit a Question link at fearcastpodcast.com. If you would like your question answered sooner, please send me a recording of your question to questions@fearcastpodcast.com, or by sending me an audio message through Instagram by DMing me at fearcastpodcast on Instagram. If you like the Fearcast, please write a review on your podcast platform of choice. Please remember that the Fearcast is not a substitute for psychotherapy. If you need a little bit of help in your recovery, please go over to fearcastpodcast.com and click on the Find Help link, and there's going to be some information for you there. So until next time, take a risk, challenge yourself, and don't take your brain too seriously. Bye.